the Brains Trust, introduced by the question master, answering any question.
Week 1 is in the books, team. Club footy is back in the deep south. Blue skies for the most part. And she was a good weekend of footy. Bryce and I's back. They've digested all the action. Bryce from the other side of the world via the portal, and I's I guess through the usual means. Fellas, what do we reckon? First weekend, good to have it back.
Yes, mate. It's good. Good that I can live my footy through you boys over there, since there's nothing happening here. Keeping me sane. The portal's a handy tool, isn't it?
Sure is. Anyone, I guess, Premier games and a couple of Div 1 games. Any player or team, I guess, catch the eye in the first round for you, Bryce? We'll get into it shortly, but
I watched the Blues, Middies, and Pob Barbar's game quite closely. I think POB probably. I tipped them for the spoon, so I'm eating a bit of pie, humble pie today. They look really good. I was impressed with them actually. Their front row, tight five especially. So they're the standouts for me from those two games that I watched closely.
Nice, mate. Eyes, you would have trucked through a little bit of footage. Obviously, you were at the Woodland Star game. Any particular standouts in terms of teams or players from your point of view?
I'll give a guy a rap. He didn't start last year for Woodlands, but I thought Drew Carter was really good on the weekend for Woodlands, playing at 12. He was giving away probably 20 or 30 kilos to the guy he was marking, and I thought he did a great job. So I'm sure we're going to touch on that game a bit more, but yeah, I thought Drew Carter was really good.
Absolutely. Right, we'll get straight into it. Obviously, she was a big weekend of action across all the grades. The President's grade didn't quite get underway, though. They'll be underway this week. We might touch on that very briefly at the end. But starting in Premier, it was Star who headed out to Woodlands. And fair to say, at lunchtime on Saturday, it was looking like she might be, the ball wouldn't get past 10, bit of torrential rain. But by the time the fellas kicked off at 3, she was blue skies, and Woodlands, I guess probably fair to say, dominated the first half. Shawana Pole, Mackenzie, and Howley kept them at the right of the field, and really was one-way traffic, wasn't it, for that first 40 minutes, 20-5 at the break?
Yeah, it was. I think Woodland sort of didn't pick up where they left last year, but they weren't too far off in that first, 10-15 minutes. Star controlled quite a lot of ball, I guess, in that middle 10-15 minutes of the first half, and got themselves back in it. But Woodlands scored a try, I think, maybe 2 tries just before half time that extended that lead and made it a bit more, I guess, comfortable, and then sort of picked up right after half time. And then obviously probably might as well touch on how the game finished. I think Woodlands was sort of cruising along at 30-12 with maybe 10 to go, and then Star sort of came out of nowhere and pulled on some points and had an opportunity to win the game, taking the line with five out. Chose a scrum instead of a line out, which the line out they just scored off for a maul. So and then ultimately play breaks down and Woodlands sneak away with one. So
I guess just to point out, obviously Kafu, the Woodlands hooker, who actually had a pretty good game for 50-60 minutes there, unfortunately went down with a neck injury. I understand he is all good, but they did have to move fields, and he was sort of laying there. Obviously, a lot of it was precautionary, making sure wasn't anything really serious, but the game was moved, and I guess that did play into Star's hands, didn't it? The game became, in the first half, there was quite a bit of flow to the game, which suited Woodland's. Second half, the game slowed right down, went to scrum, went to line out. But Chrissy Apua come off the pine, hasn't quite left the south just yet, but thought he was outstanding, got Star on the front foot, and they all but had it, to be fair. And fair to say, Eyes, like you said, I guess they'll be the first ones to admit they probably did blow that right at the end of the game, couple of penalties, and decided that they'd quick tap. I guess hindsight's a good thing, whether they go to the scrum or go to their maul, which worked pretty well. Held up over the line. So
I think it was an interesting game in terms of seeing how Star were going to play. I actually was quite impressed with some of the what they used at times, which I wasn't probably expecting too much. I tell you, I thought I've probably said it pretty much every episode last year, but Geordie Stewart was outstanding.
Yeah.
Just ran. He was in everything. I think he might have come off with about 10 to go, but he was massive for start. It was
fair to say they did start to open Woodlands up a little bit at times around the fringes, wasn't it? Especially through Geordie and Tatey and those sort of guys. I guess for Star, potentially something they'll be looking at this week is their work in the backfield and maybe a little bit of kicking practice. Got them in a bit of strife at times.
Yeah, it did. And I think that was ultimately a factor in deciding the game was the Woodlands kicking game compared to the Star kicking game. But
yeah,
I was actually going to ask there. You guys aren't playing those dropout rules, are you? That Super Rugby's playing.
Well, that's a good question. We might have to check in with Star on that because it sort of appeared that they might have been, or they thought they might have been. The Star winger, I think it was Joel Finlay, was it? Eyes looked like he'd from where we were standing, looked like he decided he'd try and run the ball out from his in goal and kick it. Unfortunately for him, straight to Cole Williams, who went down for a meat pie. So
yeah, I'm not too sure.
Yeah, I don't know.
No, we're definitely not playing the rules. I did check with Dermot Hughes, REO, avid listener of the podcast. Did assure me that we are playing standard rules that we have in the past. So you put the ball down then go, it will be a 22 dropout, not a goal line dropout.
That was a brain fart then, wasn't it?
Yeah. Anyway, so Woodlands 5 points. Great start for them. Obviously looking to go back to back after last year. 30 points, 24. So Star though, 2 bonus points for them. They'll be pretty happy, I guess, as a consolation to come away with 2 points. Was it 2 points or 1?
Yeah,
I think it was 2 points. Yeah, 2 points out of that one. So not a bad start for them. Right, we'll go to Winton, where Blues took on Midlands. The Midlands lads, first game up in the Premier ranks for 5 or 6 years, and this one was reasonably even early, fellas. Midlands scoring first, Blues, I guess, flexing their muscle a little bit after that, though, and looking through some of those video highlights that I guess those bigger Blues ball carriers, I guess fair to say were the difference, got them on the front foot, and then our first in Windsor, shout out to first in Windsor, Curtis and the team, get a flat wide and a scone, but Brad Koeman did the business, hat trick, including a couple of pretty spectacular tries and plenty of line breaks and defender speed, and he was pretty outstanding. Thoughts on that one, Bryce? You watched a little bit of that?
Yeah, it was a good game. It was a really good game. It looked like beautiful conditions out in Winton, and like you said, it was very even. Midlands scored first, I think, or it was locked up anyway. They defended really well. Blues threw a lot at them, and then I think just like you said, also the big fellas for Blues managed to get a few offloads away, and the support play was really good for Blues, and that got them on the front foot. And they took their opportunities. There was a couple of intercepts that one was a straight try, one led to a try, and then there was a pretty dusty kick actually put in by one of the Blues insides off a scrum, which was off the cuff. You couldn't tell. The winger was way back. He didn't know what was happening, and they just got lucky. It was a ricochet off Midland straight into the Blues' hands, and they scored off that. So, I don't know, take away those 3 tries. You have to be good enough to put them away, which Blues were. But I think the scoreline perhaps flattered Blues a little bit. Midlands were really good. And they'll be better for that hit out, I think.
Definitely.
They probably weren't used to having to deal with 2 or 3 offloads in one phase. And Blues
doesn't help when your general goes down early in the game. Ben McKercher. Whether that's a huge loss or not, I guess time will tell. But
depends when Jack Keane's back, I suppose. But talking to Kirch, he's still a bit sore at the moment. Well, he needs to hear back from the fracture clinic. So whether what role he's going to take in the rest of the season. So Midland's be waiting on bated breath, but
I can imagine. Yeah, Jack Keane, that's a bit of a obviously he wasn't in action on the weekend, so that was a bit of a loss for them. But I guess one guy who did stand out, and we have talked about this fella a bit, played for the Stags last year, Joey Robbins. I guess in a beaten team, he was pretty outstanding. He just carried on where he left off in 2020.
Yeah, he was good, and Sam Brame. They made gain line pretty much every time they carried. There's one phase I was going to send through actually. I think Sammy Brame touched the ball 4 times in one in one movement. So they were huge. If Midlands are going to go well, those two probably need to make sure they stay healthy.
Yeah,
absolutely. So Midlands again. I guess getting a bonus point. So not all lost. They did concede 53 points, but like you said, Bryce probably did blow out and didn't quite reflect how well they did hang in there for a bit. But yeah, to get 26 points on the board and a bonus point, I guess it not all's lost there for them. So they'll be looking to make the trip to Gore and get a bit of a scalp there. But we'll talk about that later on.
Well, good thing for I guess Midlands is seeing that go out there, they score 26 points. Like, it's not going to be impossible this year if they work hard and just limit the opportunity. Like, would you say Bryce are probably 3 opportunist tries really that Blues scored?
Yeah.
So like, if you limit those opportunities, they're going to be competitive in every game, and probably you might take a couple of scalps. So they've just got to keep working on that.
I think it's important to note too that they looked comfortable at set piece too. I think part of the challenge for some teams coming up is competing at scrum and line out time, and they were fine. They looked good.
Yeah, absolutely. Rightio, we'll go to Surrey Park. That was the third and final Premier game. Pirates Old Boys taking on the Barbarians, and I guess the report in the first half, well, after watching a bit of the footage as well, it was, I guess, a 20-minute period in the first half there where Pirates Old Boys really did damage, raced out to a 27-12 lead, and I guess it's tough coming back from there. Obviously, the Barbars, from all accounts, talking to a couple of people that were there and watching some of the footage, they did dominate large chunks of that other 60 minutes. So I guess they'll take a lot of confidence out of that. A lot of new players, quite a few younger guys. So they definitely showed, despite going down 36-15, that they will be a menace again in 2021, fellas. Despite Pirates Old Boys going pretty well.
Yeah, absolutely. It kind of didn't really play out how I expected that game, but I was talking to a friend of the pod. Well, friend of the pod. I don't know if we can call him a friend of the pod, but one of my friends, Dan Kens, he was actually at the game. He said he noted Barbars didn't look well. They didn't look great in the first half, but from probably 30 minutes on, they were really good. He noted that the Pob Lucy's Dusty Coventry on debut was really good. Josh Morrell
lived up to the hype. He lived up to the hype, but obviously previewed him as one to watch.
Yeah. Josh Morrell on debut, really good. GD good. And Anton Hughesman off the bench. So when you bring a guy like Husey off the bench, it's pretty fair. That'll be dangerous for teams in the back half of games if that's how they're going to roll out their team. So, yeah.
Bryce, any thoughts quickly on that one? POB, too good?
Yeah, they were really good. If Koeman didn't get our first in Windsor performance of the week, I think Greg Dyer would have been close behind. He got two meat pies and run that ship really well. I think, the Barbars, there's probably, like you said, we highlighted them as having some of the best recruitment, and those combinations will probably take time to develop. I don't know if you watched the highlights, but Joshy Morrell straight through the post defender a couple of times, which is really unlike Barbars. For years, they've made you beat them on the outside or try to, and really took pride in locking in that space in the middle, and they got ripped up through there a few times. So that's not like them. If they fix that, you can see on the first 20 minutes, they just let in 4 tries, and it's pretty hard to come back from that. So they should build on that. At the end, when they scored, that was the old school Barbars. They took a couple of quick taps and just straight up the guts.
Jacob Coughlin, I think it was him with the meat pie at the end there, so a bit of reward. Looked like he had a pretty tidy performance in a beaten team. Obviously played a couple of games for the Stags in 2020, so he'll be looking to dominate, I guess, from their point of view. Lead the way for the Barbars with no Lockie McCall there.
Yep.
Yeah, and I liked from early on from Pob, I think it was either 7-0 to the Barbars. I think they scored first, and they had a penalty, easily kickable, and Greg's got a great boot, so I thought he'd throw that over, but they kicked the corner and just took Barbars on in a maul, which I thought was quite good at, throwing the gauntlet down.
I guess it's fair to say that's something POB, I guess the last couple of years have probably have been known to turn down the odd shot at goal.
Yeah.
Eyes, you'd agree with that?
Yeah, I remember I think it might have been round 1 against them last year in the pissing down rain. They were turning down shots at goal left, front, centre, and almost came back to bite them. But I like the intent, and it's one of those things that can flip either way. If you don't score off them, it's quite a big momentum swing that other way. So they become pretty pivotal points in the game.
Risk and reward, isn't it?
Absolutely.
Big time. No, good win for the POB lads. I'm sure they'll be happy to get 5 points and get off to a good start at home. I guess, and obviously Marist fellas had the bye, so had to feed up somewhat. So I guess the boys will figure out where they are this Saturday, which we'll get to later on. Right, Division 1. She was a pretty, I guess, with the Eastern pool and the other pool, it was a crossover round, and fair to say the Eastern teams dominated. We'll just rattle through the scores, fellas. We might rattle through the scores and have a bit of a discussion. So Matoda, as we predicted here last week, too good for Waikiwi, the Kiki, 33 points to 7. So good to see Matoda back and a good start for them. Real cliffhanger at the Gore Showgrounds. Boys did tip Collegiate, I think. Bryce didn't want to tip the Albion, but Albion got the chocolates, 18 points to 17. Pretty hotly contested game. So I guess that's a great confidence booster for the Albion lads after a pretty tough 2020. TR now travelled to Gore, and fair to say they got a fair shellacking. Pioneer, 41 points to 10. So Pioneer, I guess, continuing to show some of the form that they did last year. Great start for them. Tokanui at home, too good for Riversdale. I got the tip on that one, I think, Brycey. Riversdale boys, traditional slow starters, and I guess the long trip may be too much for them. 27-17. Wyndham, under the tutelage of Jimmy Sinclair, first game in charge as head coach, got the chocolates against Waikaka. 21 points to 13. Pretty tight tussle out at Wyndham. And Edendale boys, too good. Fody and the McLeods and co, too good for Mozzie. 42 points to 15. Fellas, any of those results, I guess, stand out as a surprise or all pretty predictable?
I guess probably maybe the Tokanui one. Mind you did tip them, but I guess they've been playing down a grade.
Div 1, yeah.
Yeah, and I think Riversdale, I don't know, they were all over the show last year. So probably that result, and maybe Pioneer putting such a score on Tokanui. But I think you've watched some, Tiana, sorry. I think you've watched some of that footage of your Bryce, and you reckon they look pretty handy?
Yeah, Pioneer look good. They look really good.
Any standouts from a Pioneer point of view, mate?
I only know Geordie Smith from the footage. I haven't seen any team sheets or anything, and he can move the ball better than a lot of people. And they look to use his pass and his speed, so a lot of their tries were set up through the midfield or wider. So
nice.
Promising signs there for the Gore fellas.
Absolutely. I guess we sort of profiled Wyndham Waikaka as, I guess, the game of the round in Division 1, and Wyndham getting it done against the Waikaka boys. We thought this would be pretty tight, and I guess it was, 8 points, you say it was pretty tight. Wyndham, I guess, went to their strengths and got the job done.
Any word from the super coach how that game went?
Not to my knowledge. I did give him a congratulatory text afterwards. His first question was, which is the bottom prem team dropping down? So he's already one eye on the X sofa for Coach Sinclair, which was good stuff. So no, it was not too 100% sure. I know their game was videoed. Haven't managed to catch up with that yet, but I'll be sure to have a look at that during the week at some stage. But great win for them nonetheless. And I guess, new coaching staff out at Wyndham, so they'll be Wade McRae, be a happy man. All that fitness work in the pre-season paying off.
Yeah. Which
is outstanding. Division 2, we'll just rattle through the scores just for 30 seconds. We won't touch on this too much, but Riverton 69-0 over Bush Pirates. Balfour 32-15 over Ohio Tautau. DLS 22-19 over YL, Star B 46-17 over Woodlands B, POB B 28-21 over Wakatipu, and Maris B got it done 22-20 over Bluff. In the women's, 56-0 Blues women over Wakatipu, I guess as we predicted, and Maris 41-15 over Albion. So that rounded out week 1 of proceedings. Right, we'll look ahead. We'll look straight into week 2. Presidents, as we mentioned at the start, back on board. So we've got a full house of games this weekend. We'll start in the Premier at Star. First game of the season at Waverley Park. Star taking on Pirates Old Boys. Referee for this one is Nathan Lyle. Just quickly, fellas, I thought, Eyes, you were there, and I guess it's a bit hard to tell on the video, Brycey, but I thought the refereeing and a lot of the comments talking to Dermot was that the refereeing was pretty good. A few young touchies running the sidelines, and I thought, especially that young guy doing the Woodland Star game, I thought they were pretty good.
Yeah.
Pretty
we kept
good.
the game flowing. I didn't think it was one of those stop-start shitty fears that you can occasionally get first up. So no.
Yeah, no, absolutely. So well done to the referees. I'm sure they'll continue to grow throughout the season. Nathan in charge of that one. Any quick thoughts on that one, fellas? I guess it could be a battle between the Star pack up front and maybe the POB, especially their back line through GD and Isaac, etc.
I think it's going to be. Do you go, Brycey?
No, yeah, I think it's going to be really, really, really tight. I'm actually going to go Pob unders. I was impressed. I was really impressed with them.
Yeah, who's the difference?
It's just noticeable how quick they can get the ball to width. Them in Woodlands. After watching the 2 games quite closely, and then the highlights of the other, the speed from 9 to fullback, if they need to get it there, is just so quick. And you can tell it's not just, skill level comes into it, but it's also their outside backs are expecting it. They're realigning quickly. So it must be a bit of coaching as well, like be ready, the ball's coming.
Yeah.
And I think, the only doubt I had over Pob was their tight 5, and they were really good against Barbars. Their hooker, I forget his name. We've talked about
Josh Harwood.
He was really good. Like, he was pretty mongrel. There's a clip where he sort of peeled out the side and he was just fucking holding some prop down and just not letting him move. So I like that edge about them, and I think they could probably, if they can hold Stars tight 5.
Yeah, it's fair to say they'll cause, to be fair, GD, I'm sure, and Isaac will cause the Star backfield a few issues, unless Star have done quite a bit of work on that during the week.
Absolutely, that would be one of the things that the Star backs in particular will be looking at, is negating that kicking option and that kicking threat, because it is a threat with that Pirates Old Boys team. They can, with those guys you mentioned, they can pin you down in your own half and make it pretty difficult to get out of there. So I was actually leaning towards Star, but fuck, you've actually swayed me, Bryce. I'll take Pob unders, and at least then I can blame you if it goes tits up. So you give me Pob unders.
Even with my choice, it's going to be pretty close.
Yeah, I don't often go Pob, but I'm gonna make it a full house here. I'm gonna go Pob unders. I think after what I saw last week, if Star can make it a stop-start set piece oriented game, then I would give them a shot. But I think if the game flows, like you said, Brycey, POB, probably too slick in terms of how they can transition. So we'll wait and see.
It's a weird thing too. I think like Pob, they're a first-round team. For some reason.
Yeah, well, they went 4 out of 5 last year in the first round, so it's not new, is it?
So I guess they go 2-0. They are off to, I guess, replicating what they did do in 2020. So forecast for Saturday is good. At this stage, he's meant to be pretty dicey either side of Saturday, but at this stage, Saturday's looking all right. So I guess you would have to say that would suit POB for that one. Right, we'll move on. We'll go to Miller Street, Marist. First game of the season, at home, taking on a Woodlands team coming off a good, I guess, 40 to 50 minute performance against Star. Brycey, you're the somewhat more objective one here. I guess it's hard to gauge, I guess, from a Marist point of view when the fellas haven't played, but any quick thoughts on this one?
How healthy are you?
I'm fit.
Eyes is fit. So he's
Say
going to
no
have to
more.
cut multiple. Nah, to be fair, there are a couple of injury issues for the Green and Blacks in the Type 5 in particular. So, yeah, I guess it'll be a wait and see on Thursday night in terms of confirming who can suit up and who can't. But, yeah, it'll be, I guess, from Marist's point of view, make things a little bit more challenging. But, yeah.
You might as well take them, Bryce.
No. I'll back the boys. I'll back the boys round one. There's no form to go off, so I've got no excuses. I'll go Maris unders.
I guess you can go off Maris Woodlands pre-season 60-minute fixture, 19-7 to Woodlands, but was 0-0 for, I guess, 40 to 50 minutes. So
It was 0-0 till I came on.
Plus minus.
swung the game. Swung the game. No more thoughts on that, Brycey?
No, look, I'll pick the boys until you give me a reason not to, and at the moment I've got none. So,
yeah,
let's go, Maris. Let's go on.
Yeah. Anything to add, Eyes? I know you'll be lacing up, mate. But
no, nothing too. It'd be nice to actually play at Miller Street again. Actually, I think the last time we played there was against Woodlands, and Marty decided to pick that goal. So
harrowing memories, 29-28. Last time these two sides met officially, 2020. Marty McKenzie, 81st minute penalty to deny Maris a rematch in the Galbraith final. But Woodlands, I guess, will have plenty of confidence. Game under their belt always helps. So I guess you'd have to say if you're a TAB odds man, Woodlands probably would go in slight favourites. Right, we'll move on. We'll go to Gore Showgrounds, the mighty Gore Showgrounds. Eastern Northern Barbarians looking to bounce back after that first up loss. They're taking on Midlands, who also, I guess, looking to get their first win on the board. Fellas, is this a game Midlands maybe had circled in their calendar, I guess, when the draw came out? Perhaps?
I think they probably would have. I'd imagine they're just taking it sort of week by week in terms of who's in front of them, though. Yeah. Because last time they were up, they beat Woodlands. And that was a couple of years ago. It was a different Woodlands side, but you just never know. I'm going to take Barbars unders. Yeah. Just with Kirch being out as well. I feel like a kick. I'm not too sure if Jack Keen's going to be playing, so I think they'll miss his direction and probably his kicking game a wee bit out there. It's a place you kind of need to sort of pin the Barbars down there. Yeah, at the Showgrounds. But I'll take Barbars unders, but I wouldn't be surprised if it's within 7 points sort of thing. Yeah.
Brycey, what are you thinking, mate?
It's going to be another close one. This is going to be a good round. It's going to be a good round. I don't think there's going to be any blowouts.
Taylor Swan, quickly. Taylor Swan in charge of this one. And sorry, I did not put out there Josh Hamill in charge of Maris Woodlands. But yeah, Taylor Swan. Good to see Swanee back doing the Prem games. That's Taylor Swan.
Yeah, there'll be a bit of feeling in this game. So I think you probably need...
Country?
Fuck, I don't know. I'll go Midlands unders, actually.
Nice.
Well, they've got similar styles, and it's going to be whoever can not give away field position.
Yeah.
Because both teams don't really have backs that are going to rip you up and run 50 meters. It'll be whoever gives away the least penalties and gets kicked into the corners, because they'll try and push each other over.
Yeah, absolutely.
I'll back Midlands to learn from last week. They gave Blues too much pill from pretty ordinary mistakes, really, and I think that'll be what they're focusing on this week. Just hold on to the fucking ball.
Yeah,
definitely. Oh, I'm going to go Barbars unders. I think back at home, the word is they did front pretty well for the majority of that POB game after POB got up a bit. So I think they'll be looking to bounce back, but I don't think it'll be a blowout by any stretch. So yeah, that'll be a good battle actually out at Gore, but two country premier sides, which will be good stuff. Right, we'll go to Division 1, fellas. 6 games. We'll start in Tiarnau up in Fiordland. Sam Nicholson in charge of this one. It's Tiarnau looking to bounce back. We know they do go pretty well at home. Taking on Matoda, who'll be full of confidence, 1-0 after a good win over Waikiwi. Can Matoda travel to Fiordland and get it done, fellas?
Yeah,
comfortably.
Yeah, I'm going to go 13 plus.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
I think there'll be a different Tianio team at home, but I'll also jump on the Matilda bandwagon. I'll take them unders, though. You'd hope if Tianio are going to put in a decent performance to sort of get that sort of flush last week, it will be at their home track, one of the better tracks in the province. So I haven't actually heard a lot about how that Waikiwi Matoda game was like. So I'm not too sure what sort of style they're going up there with, but yeah, I think it'll be good enough to get the choppies.
Yeah, I think I'm going to go Matoda overs. I think, well, they, I guess, put a few around Waikiwi, bit of confidence. I understand they've got a few younger players, so some exciting young talent there. So I think they might get it done. I guess for Tiana point of view, I would say this game, if they want to make the X-Oper, is probably make or break. I know it's only the second game, but you need to win your home games, especially from their point of view. So you lose this, I think she's a pretty tough road to getting into the X. So I'm going to go Matoda for that one. Right, we'll head over to Riversdale. Riversdale looking to bounce back after a tough first up loss down at Tokanui, at home to Albion. Albion also, they got in the winners circle last week, so a lot of confidence for them. I guess, fellas, Riversdale would start as favourites, but this might perhaps be a bit closer than maybe we thought this time last week.
Definitely. I think we couldn't really pick Riversdale last year, and it sort of started off, well, in my case anyway, not being able to pick them again. So I'm going to take, they seemed like a different beast we were at home last year. I'm going to use that as my form. So I'll take Riversdale, sorry. I'll take Riversdale overs, actually.
Fair play. Pricey, who are you thinking? Riversdale? Too good?
Yeah, I think I'll go Riversdale overs too. It's more, like they're up and down last year.
Yeah, yeah.
They play like rocks, and then next week they're diamonds. So I hope that form continues into 2021.
Due for diamonds. I think I'll make that a full house, Riversdale. I think too good at home for the Albion lads. Right, we'll go to game 3. Waikika. I think this could be perhaps the game of Division 1 or game of the round in Division 1. Waikika back at home. It's tough first up loss to Wyndham, but they're taking on the boys from Pioneer who are riding high. A bit of an Eastern Southland derby match, I guess you'd call it. Pretty tight to call this one, fellas. What do we think?
I actually flicked through the CAC Wyndham game, and they were good. They lost, but Wyndham probably scored out of the tries I saw, like one of the tries of the round. It was a set piece try through the hands. So they had to work really hard to get through CAC. It was 2 tries each. So I think they're pretty handy. I'm going to go Waikaka unders in this one. I liked how they looked.
I'm going to go Waikaka overs, I think. I picked Waikaka to win the comp, I think. So I'm just going to ride them until the wheels fall off. But I did hear similar comments about that game being quite close, Bryce. So,
you also picked Woodlands to win the Galbraith Shield, and you've tipped against them this week.
Yeah, I have. Yeah, that's true, Bryce. I don't have an answer for that. So,
what's your pick, mate? Waikika unders?
Kaka overs.
Kaka overs.
Fuck you, Bryce.
Right, I think I'm going to go. Yeah, I'll go. I'd have to go with the home team, I think. Waikika, I think. But I think it'll be close, unders. I think, Pioneer boys, plenty of confidence out of the Gore camp down at Robertson Street. So that could be a game, I guess, if you're a neutral punter looking for a game of footy on Saturday. Nice day, maybe make the drive to Waikika. Could be well worth the trip. Right. Well, here next up, we'll go to Northern Southland. 2 games up in Northern on Saturday at the Mosburn Domain. A couple of Gerald Dermody rivals from 2020 slugging it out. Tokanui making the trip up. This could be another tight one, fellas. Tokanui, plenty of confidence taking down Riversdale. Mosburn will be pretty intent on getting their season, I guess their winning column underway.
It's a fucking big road trip, isn't it? Takanui to Mosburn. That'd be one of the bigger road trips in the.
Well, we thought Riversdale to Takanui was a long trip last week. This could be.
I think this might be bigger. If you take out the Wanderers, I think this is a big one. But fuck, I'm pretty hard up Mosburn, And
you like the Mosburn boys?
I'm a huge Mozzie fan, so I think Gareth Coots gets him if he's actually lacing up. He'll contribute to either himself going in the bin or a Mosburn win. Hopefully both actually be great. So I'll take Mosburn unders.
Go on. Brycey, what do you think?
I'm going to take this opportunity to peg a few picks back off Eyes because he's clearly picking with his heart there, not his head. Unless Tok don't get off the bus, they should win comfortably. I'm going to go Tok overs.
Tok overs?
Jeez.
Mate, they've just knocked over last year's at Riversdale. They'll be fucking...
Do you not respect the Mosman domain, mate? It's a fucking fortress.
Nah, I don't.
Oh,
I've seen Harlem, the Globey, get a hat trick there. So it's not that much.
A great Globetrotter. Yes. No, I'm gonna go Takanui, but I'm gonna go unders. I'm gonna stay loyal to the Nui. They got me a W last week, so I think I actually had a look at their team sheet on Sporty, and not a bad lineup to be fair. Plenty or a couple of names definitely in there that ring a bell. Kieran Short, former Southland Boys High first 15 player. I did play with myself. Very tidy footballer. Along with a couple of Buckinghams. You couldn't have a Takanui team without a couple of Buckinghams in there. So they look reasonably handy. I know their club, just quickly, in pretty good health. They do have a C's team as well that running around. So I guess it's good to see, a tiny wee township like Takanui. I guess footy clubs are in a really good place at the moment, which is good to see. Right.
That's good.
Always do a good Sevaloi down there too.
Them and Gorge Road growing up actually, just 20 minutes before big fuckers, real big fuckers.
Yeah. Get the toothpick in there. Nothing.
Yeah.
Great stuff. Right, we'll go to the Kiki. The first taste of senior Division 1 football at the Waikiwi Rugby Club. They're taking on Wyndham. The Wyndhams make the trip into Invercargill. I guess fair to say, fellas, Waikiwi probably up against it in this fixture, but you never know. Wyndham too good?
Yeah, I don't think we should overthink this one. It's just the Wyndham are traditionally very good Div 1 side. Waikiwi trying to step up and make
is
the
that a Wyndham overs across the board?
I think so. Well, for me it is.
Yeah, unfortunately, I have to agree with Bryce there.
Yeah. Sorry to our Waikiwi listeners.
Yeah,
Kyle, I'm sorry if you're listening, mate. Nothing personal.
No. There'd be a big chance of the boat race, though. I am saying that.
Yeah, I think they win the aftermatch.
Yeah, I think they'll be tough to tip there all season, to be fair.
Definitely. Right, we'll round it out. Division 1. Edendale also making the trip into Invercargill, but they're heading to South Invercargill, Lindisfarne Street. Bit of a rugby big day out on Lindisfarne Street with 2 games at Marist and a game at Collegiate. Hosting the Collegiate boys. First game at home for them in Division 1. I guess like the Wyndham game, Edendale probably going in as hot favourites. This could be a bit of a step up for Collegiate after last week's game against Albion.
Yeah, I think it probably will be. I was actually a bit disappointed that Collegiate didn't win last week. I thought they probably would have on the back of this season and some of those league guys coming back, but it just takes time to gel as a unit. Edendale overs for me, I think. Bram, Jeremy and Devon in the 10, 12, 13 will be probably too much for them to handle.
Yeah. Agreed.
Yeah, I've just chucked Edendale 13 plus across the board there.
Yeah.
It's in these sort of grading games, there's always going to be a couple of mismatches, isn't there?
Mm.
Oh, I know we're early days, fellas, but I guess we get through this weekend. It's probably we'll start to see a bit of a picture in terms of which teams are looking like they're gonna, I guess, in this Division 1 grade, definitely lock themselves into the X-Soper, even after 2 weeks. I know the first 2 weeks are the crossover games, so once we get through this week, we will go into the I guess the 5 pool games as you'd call them. Like we talked about in the preview, the Eastern pool and the mix and match pool with Waikika, Riversdale, Te Anau, the 2 town teams, as well as Mozzie and Tokanui. So plenty to play for. Right, that might do us, fellas. Any last thoughts ahead of the weekend? Nothing more to add. I guess just quickly on the a bigger front, news today that Moana Pacifica and Fiji Jura have been given conditional approval to enter Super Rugby in 2022 with the 5 Australian, 5 New Zealand teams. Do we like it? And if we like it, how do we think they're going to front next year? I guess the player roster would be probably one of the bigger issues, I guess, in terms of their time frame. Thoughts?
I personally love it. It's just, as you mentioned, where the player's going to come from, and I would like to see. I highly doubt this would happen, but it happens with the expansion teams. I mentioned it last year, is where say they had the option to pick from the New Zealand Super Rugby teams, that they had X amount of players protected. Let's say, I don't know, for instance, 15 or 20, and then they can draft out of that. I think that would be a good way of doing it. It does obviously thin out the New Zealand rosters, but I think for the good of the Pacific Island game, that's not necessarily a bad thing, is to have these guys playing for these 2 teams. So I think it's awesome, but how the rosters are built, probably the biggest question mark at the moment. Also, I didn't read a lot about it. I only saw basically the headline. Where are they based in Fiji and Samoa, or is one based in Auckland? How does that work?
Didn't really say, to be fair. I understand Moana may be in Auckland and Fiji and Suva, but not 100 on that. Bryce, quick thoughts?
Yeah, hopefully, I think it's good. Hopefully it goes back to being called the Super 12. That'd be fun.
Oh, that'd be great, wouldn't it?
That'd be a throwback. Just bring back the old logo too.
Ubic Super 12.
Yeah.
Sponsorship.
No, hopefully, both teams can just nail one early big signing. It probably won't get Radradra, but someone like that's playing over here, just to commit early, and then hopefully that attracts a few more players.
He may be reluctant to leave.
His paycheck would be outstanding. I just couldn't think of any more off the top of my head, but
I'm sure there will be plenty though that would come
over here. So if they can secure a signature like that early and announce that, then I think that'll go a long way in the recruitment side of things. But it's good. I think that they won an NPC comp in Australia, the Jura, so we've got some quality players. They should be competitive.
Most definitely. Right, that'll do us for this week, I think, fellas. Big week of footy coming up. Eyes and myself chucking the boots on officially for the first time. So hopefully we're in one piece and able to make it back next week. But good luck to everyone. Lace it up, and we'll be back next week to dissect week 2.
Cheers, Scotty.
Cheers, mate.